Okay, well,
Yeah. But are you ready for the streaming?
yes, yes.
Yes.
Am
I
okay.
on?
Yeah. Let's start.
Okay, perfect. Could you please let me share my screen?
Yeah, sure. But make Jerry a co-host, or let him share his screen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, so hello everybody. Here in Mexico is morning, so morning to you, or afternoon or night. I don't know. So my name is Gerardo, but I go for Jerry because it's easier to pronounce. Formerly, I'm a geologist. That's why this topic is important to me, because as geologists, most of the time, the companies and also many of my colleagues, they don't really take on account the impact that our actions might repercute on the environment. So for a few years, I was working as a geologist, but focusing on geothermal energy, which is the production of the of electrical energy by the heat of the earth. And this is a way in which, from my own field, I can try, trying to help a little bit with the conservation of the environment. So that's a little introduction about me. Here I'm sharing with you a small slide that I found on the internet. So it's from the European Network for Environmental Citizenship, from Dr. Benito Cao, from the Australia University, the University of Adelaide. And in here, he explains basically why is it important to be a responsible person, by taking care of the environment, even though by doing small actions. So this is basically what I'm aiming for, that probably at the end of the meeting, we can enrich our strategies and how we can do something in order to provide a better, a better sustainable activities, just in general, or behavior. There you go, behavior. So I'm just gonna move here. In this part, it's explained basically that the environment involves nature and natural events. So you may know all our actions always have collateral effects. Sometimes they are for good, most of the times they're not. Okay. I'm just gonna explain to you a little bit and then we're gonna start with the discussion, which is the part that I'm really looking for. Okay, and also here they explain about the anthropocentrism, which is basically to put the human being in the center of everything. But then it comes a new idea of ecocentrism, which is about taking care of the environment regardless of the importance of humans, because so far we have been making a lot of damage to basically to the poles, as you all know, like also the ozone layer. So ecocentrism focus on this. It says that it's opposed to human-centered system. Then he also talks a little bit about how to measure our footprint according to our activities. This means that, for example, if you're a student or if you work, all the actions that you take, they're gonna have a footprint. Maybe by the amount of production of electricity, or for the garbage that you're gonna be throwing, or also for the food. So this footprint, this is a very good tool. Actually, if you want later on, I can help you. I can share this with you so that you may know if your footprint is big according to your to your style of life. And in here, we can see a comparative chart according to the business. So the prediction is that it's gonna increase. The good thing should be for making it low. So there are a lot of organizations that are helping people to be more conscious about this. But sadly, many of the businesses won't really change a lot, because if they change, sometimes the the prices are gonna increase. So the utilities are not as good for businessmen. Okay, and here they explain a little bit about citizenship. What is a citizenship? So citizenship is basically to be part of a community. And in this case, if we refer to environmental, so we are referring to a group of people that take care of the environment by making some actions. And also by following some politics. Okay. Okay, and in here we can see some of the impacts, some duties, so this is basically what I want to focus on today. So as you know, with the very, very small explanation that I gave you, we as humans in our own countries, maybe we have different policies due to our government, and also to our backgrounds. But I would love to ask you all, like, what are some of the actually, I want to share another thing with you. Okay, so these are 4 questions that I prepared, and I would like you all to answer them. So you can like select whichever question you want to answer. And this one, for example, why is it important to take care of our environment? So from your own point of view, why do you think that it is important? What are the duties and responsibilities of being a good citizen? Citizen talking about environmental, okay? Who is responsible for environmental issues? And the last one, how can we shop by taking care of the environment? So now I'm gonna give the time to all of you so that we can, start to discuss and maybe at the end have a small conclusion. Is anyone interested in starting? Shastrin from Sri Lanka.
Yes.
Yeah, you have your hand raised.
Yes.
Do you want to
Can I
answer one of?
answer my why is important to take care of our environment? No.
Yeah. You can select one of the questions and then you can answer whichever you decide.
Yes. Thank you very much. First of all, I introduced environment is surrounding us a lot of things. This air and soil and water. It is very important to us. Who is responsible for environmental issues? All the all the all the officials and citizens are responsible to environmental issues. Nowadays, we can see uh, pollution, pollutions, water pollution, soil pollution, and air pollution. So it becomes from human harmful activities. People's cutting trees and let into the water and let into the wastewater to rivers and another thing that another one is smoke emitted to the environment, so we can't breathe uh, pure air from this atmosphere. So all things are nowadays uh, nowadays polluted by the human activities. But there are a lot of so many laws are implemented to the nation to nation, but all the people are not all the people are not obey or that law and regulation. Therefore, the reason the environmental issues is very critically in our situation. So we are all responsible to the environmental issues. We can't avoid them. We should take responsible, and we know in the corona pandemic situation, all the countries in the world are locked down. But the ozone affected rate is very below than before the corona pandemic situation. So I can realize that human activities and human day-to-day activities is spoiled to the environment, and we can't breathe pure air and other things. So my opinion is all the person in the world are who are responsible to keep our environment to clean and uh, clean and safe. So my opinion is uh, all the persons are responsible to uh, for environmental issues. Thank you very much giving to me this opportunity.
Oh, thanks to you. Actually, there is something very interesting that you mentioned. Right now with Corona, probably you have seen, well, you saw the news since the beginning of the quarantines that were all around the world. So I saw different memes, even like animals coming into big cities, like for
Yes,
example in Venice, or other places where deers also came out of the forest. For example, here in Mexico, in some cities, even the bears came down to the mountains into the cities. So we can see that, yes, we humans sometimes are, or most of the times, are taking the land of the animals, right? So that's an impact that we all know and is well documented now. So thank you for touching that aspect. Okay, we also have Soham from India.
Yes, actually, I would like to answer the question number 3. So, who is responsible for environmental issues? So, according to me, men, obviously men and women also are responsible for the environmental issue. I don't know about earthquakes, but in India, the government is corrupted, so government doesn't take care of our nature. And town Kolkata, we don't have sufficient waste bags in our streets, in our streets where we can let the things that we do need. We we all are seeing the things that we don't need in the streets. So by this way, the environment is polluted, and I think in other developed European countries that things are same, because I think you all heard a girl named Greta Thunberg from Sweden who is nominated for given prize, I don't know what exactly, for environment issues. So she is very good at this type of views, and she had a number of conferences with prime ministers of every countries. But I don't know what happened to India. We are still corrupt, but I think it will change uh, someday, and I hope there are sufficient waste baskets in our cities. But we have sufficient waste baskets, and some places are very beautiful in India, like Visakhapatnam and all Mumbai, Delhi, but not my town, obviously. So I hope someday we will develop also, uh, and for the fourth number of question, how can we shop by taking care of environment? I think we should avoid the plastic things. And in India, some people already are using to start not to use plastic things to protect our environment. And obviously, plastic is one of the main reasons. So this is my opinion.
Thank you, Soham. Yeah, it's true. Maybe sometimes our governments they will have a big impact in the resolutions that are among the citizens of each one of the countries. But still, we can do some small actions, because I think that if we are always like focusing on the government and blaming the government for all the things, we won't start to make the changes. But yeah, thank you for your opinions. So we also have Huawei 20 lead. I don't know who's that. Oh, I see.
It's Akem from Cameroon. I'm very sorry. I didn't include my name today. I was in such a hurry to get to the conference.
So could you be a small introduction, please?
Yes, the name is Akem Henry from Cameroon. So I am very privileged, Jerry, to be a part of this, especially as the environmental degradation and chaos is probably responsible for about 80% of what we have on Earth today as global pandemics. And I am a student on environmentalism. So I'm a PhD student, and my thesis is entitled Eco-Cultural Politics of Coexistence. So if with that, you should know that at least I should be informed on this topic. I am very happy about this. You've raised some really pertinent issues. For example, why is it important to take care of our environment? I think it is of utmost importance that we take care of our environment because, in fact, the environment take care of us. So in order for us to take care of for the environment to take care of us, we need to take care of the environment. It's like it's reciprocal. I mean, in all the holy books on earth, the environment pre-exists man. And so if man comes in and becomes a virus, he will kill the host, which is the earth or the environment, and will end up dying because, I mean, he will have nothing to live on, nothing to use in treating himself, nothing to use as food, nothing to use as medicine, drugs, nothing. In fact, our whole life depends on the environment. So if you want to talk about, for example, taking care of the environment, first thing we want to talk about is taking care of plants. Plants take in carbon dioxide and send out oxygen, which we need. If we don't take care of these plants, and the recent thing on deforestation comes in to take away so many plants on Earth, and we have a lot of endangered species of plants and a lot of extinct plants, which are not only medicinal, but also important as far as purification of the atmosphere is concerned. And as we lose this very vital plant species, what happens is we have more carbon dioxide, more toxic, more pollution in the air. And when we inhale the air, it's impure. And so we end up with lung diseases, heart diseases, and some other medicinal conditions, which will not be the case if we were taking care of the environment. So it is very important that we take care of the environment. When you say, what are the duties and responsibilities of being a good citizen, a global environmental citizen? Honestly, you pointed out some things on the rights and duties. Every citizen on Earth, whatever country we find ourselves in, we have rights and we have duties. These rights are things we expect from, for example, in this case, the environment, and the duties are what we owe the environment. So consequently, we have a duty to take care of the environment in whatever regard that is. The last speaker talked of taking care of plastics. I will talk of reforestation, and this is one mistake people always make. They talk of planting trees, and they talk of planting the same kind of trees. On Earth, we have about 5 kinds of landscapes, and the forest, which inhabits a lot of trees, is just one of those. So we need the existence of the 5 landscape forms to make sure that there is global environmental homeostasis. If we don't have this balance, then there will be trouble on Earth. So everybody goes around saying reforestation, afforestation, that's just the planting of trees. What happens to shrubs? What happens to the desert? What happens to the icelands? All of these things, all of these are part of the global environment. If we plant more trees, we may not have, we may end up having very little heat, too much ice, and that will cause a problem. We will be too cold somewhere and probably not as hot as we should be, and we'll have frozen fish and everything. So there is something which talks about, in deep ecology, it talks about the interrelatedness of the elements of nature. So if I here, for example, if I pollute the environment in Cameroon where I am, the environment is interrelated, and the smoke that leaves this place, for example, if I burn up something, I may not be the immediate victim of what I'm doing. And so I should take care of the environment because I care about the others. I may just do something here, poison the water, for example, and the poison goes downstream, and all the fish that's found along that route, along that course, dies because somebody upstream made a very serious mistake. So China, for example, is supposed to be, I don't know if it is, but it's supposed to be the cradle of coronavirus. Yet the whole world suffers because, whether we like it or not, somehow we are all part of the human race. And when one part of us is touched, the other is affected. So who is responsible for environmental issues? I would like to say who is responsible is different from who should be responsible. Because who is responsible now, we are talking about like the Global Forum for Environmental Health, we are talking about the World Health Organization, and all of this. These guys are they are interest-based. Consequently, we have the G8, we have the G20, and in these concentric circles, you have people with interest. For example, if America needs the gold from Cameroon or the petroleum from Cameroon today, they won't care about how much pollution will take place because of the drilling. They won't care about that. They will need the petrol, they'll need the fuel, and so they may visa the exploitation of fuel in Cameroon, which may be detrimental to the people in Cameroon. And there is this thing about pollution heavens. When we talk pollution heavens, most of the times people out there decide to take what pollutes the environment, their bad industries, and send them to Africa, for example, where we have people who are a little less aware of the repercussions of maybe smoke or pollution and so on, and they pay these governments huge sums of money. Their people die of bronchitis, of heart diseases, of lung diseases, and the big people, the leaders of the government, when they have these diseases, I mean, they stay away from these places, but when they ever have these diseases, they go out there where they have better hospitals and get health care. So those who should be responsible for the environment are the citizens, because let's talk about what they call globalization. I was talking about the interrelatedness of the elements of nature in the environment. If I planted good plants around here, what will happen is the whole atmosphere tends to benefit from that act, because there will be more oxygen, probably, and I won't be able to breathe all of that. So purer oxygen circulates to other parts of the globe, and other citizens, environmental citizens, get to breathe better air. So it is each citizen who should be aware. This is supposed to be, we are supposed to evangelize what I call green evangelism. So we talk about how difficult, how harmful it is when we ignore the environment. So it is you from your home making sure that your plastics are well taken care of, or making sure, like our brother from India said, that you don't use plastics. When the plastic industry thinks that it is running out of profits, they will stop creating plastics and think of some other biodegradable products. So it is you understanding that if you pollute the water, this will happen to the rest of the world, and so you stop doing that, because this is what we call globalization. We do global from the local. We can't affect every part of the globe, but from our own little corner, if from our knowledge of environmental consciousness, if we can treat our individual environment well, the global environment turns to gain. Then you talked of how can we shop by taking care of the environment. This thing, and I'm going to call it nonsense because I don't want to mince words. This started in Cameroon about 2 years ago, and it was pure chaos. The reason is, okay, the government gets up one morning, I don't know whoever got up, maybe the Minister of Health or the President, who wired the Minister of Health, and the Minister of Health just clamped down on the citizen and said, no plastic bags. I mean, what the hell? You, Mr. Minister, are supposed to understand that we can't stop using plastic bags without a replacement. So if you are supposed to stop us from using these things, bring in the replacements and let them be, let the replacement be gradual. It can't be that abrupt. And I mean, you stop us from using, but the industries that produce these things still pay taxes and keep producing. Who are we deceiving here? If you want us to shop healthy, then produce wrapping equipment that is biodegradable. That way, we will be able to do these things, and it's ridiculous. There is something called Gary, and we have rice here. How do you expect me to buy rice from a supermarket without I mean, Mitch, you're laughing, but this is real. This is real. Do you expect me to take my dress and use to carry rice or gari or cassava or bananas? That's ridiculous. So if we are supposed to shop, we should shop healthy. That's, I mean, that's taken for granted, but we can't just ignore the people and just keep bringing up new decrees every day without making sure that these decrees are applicable. So that's all I had to say concerning your questions. But you talked about ecocentrism and anthropocentrism. As far as these terms are concerned, in my thesis, I consider them very synonymous. The reason is simple. When you say anthropocentric, you talk about making man live better, more comfortable. And there is no way man will be more comfortable without the environment being comfortable. I mean, we have Abraham Maslow's pyramid of hierarchy of needs. And we need air, we need water, we need food at the primary level. If we must take care of these things, if we must be healthy and have these things, we must take care of the environment first. That is ecocentrism, my brother. So we must take care of the environment if we must survive. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, it was a good participation. Actually, you mentioned very interesting things as well. You remarked that we are all connected, so our actions are not gonna be just for me and my family. Maybe are gonna repercute in the neighbor city. Also, reforestation in that one, as you mentioned as well. Sorry, a mosquito is coming here. As you mentioned as well, when we reforest, it is important to think about the endemics. And this is a really big issue that I have with a lot of people that always are inviting me to reforestate, because here in Mexico, we also have a wild, big variety of I forgot the word, of climates. So sometimes they want to reforest it, for example, with pine trees in a section that is very desertic. And I'm like, no, you have to look for the specific plants to those sections. But yeah, so thank you. It was a very nice talk. Umima, are you still there?
Yes, I am, Jerry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I totally agree with Akem, as he said that we as citizens, we have the power, which is true, because because in final we are the consumers. So we just need to be aware of our power as consumers, because who buy in final, it's us. So we just have to stop.
Uma? Are you still there?
She's gone.
No, guys, were you listening to me? No?
Yeah. Well, it was interrupted.
Oh, really? So what is the last thing you heard? Just to know.
Well, I didn't actually catch it correctly.
Okay, so now you can hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay. So I said that I agree with Akem, because he said that the citizens, we as citizens, we have the power, because in final we are the consumers, so we are the one who take the decision if we should buy this or not, and we just need to be aware of our power. Also, we tend to point like the government, the industries, but I believe that it always starts from us. So if each one of us starts by his own consumption and a responsible lifestyle, things will be much better. Um, Also, for me, being a good citizen means to be responsible of our own consumption and to master our needs. Because, okay, I know because I'm actually, my field is marketing, and I know that the society keep creating needs for us so that we can keep shopping and keep consuming things, even though we don't really need them. So it is for it's all up to us. Actually, if we are aware of this, we can master our needs and back to the essentials and know this is okay, I need this I don't need, and this is how things will change, I think. For example, for me, I've started this like 2 years ago now. There are some products that I don't use anymore, like shampoos, like the cosmetics products that are very toxic for our health. And also, I don't buy much. I'm trying to master my needs and my shopping list. So yeah, there are some products that I'm doing myself at home. Also, like the products for cleaning, those products are really really toxic for our health and for the environment, because they are, all the packaging are plastics. So if we just start to be aware of this and start doing things by ourselves, things will just change. This is how it starts.
Yeah, yeah, yes, I totally agree with Uma, because as you mentioned, maybe we can just stop buying something that we um, I don't know. There are different brands, for example, no? And one brand is taking care of, or the policy or the ideology, philosophy of the brand is connected with the protection of the environment, and maybe it's gonna be a kind of a little bit more expensive. But if we decide to go for that one, we are making action instead of just saying, "Well, I don't care." Like
Yeah,
uh, someone else can do something, but for me, I won't do it because maybe it's gonna affect my economy. I don't know if we think like that, as you mentioned, then we won't never stop this problem. But as also you recall, if we start to do these small activities and actions, and we are aware of what we are doing with conscience, then we will improve.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is
Thank you.
the ideal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. Um, I don't know. Is there anyone else that might like to participate in it? The questions are, oh, Diana, we have Diana from Algeria. The questions, I put them on the chat so that we can see our faces. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so first I want to thank you for the kind attention to the environment, because it's a really interesting topic to talk about, especially in our the last decades and this century. Could you hear me? Can you hear me?
All right, well done, guys.
Okay,
Yes.
and also I want, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and also I want to thank all the brothers, the previous brothers that have given valuable words about the environment. So I'm going to somehow try to answer some questions. So for the first question, about the responsible of the environment issues. Of course, I'm going to mention man or human beings, and also the technological tools or the machinery they invent. And because I'm not against invention or something like that, I just want to say that we need to pay our attention and to take care, or just keep the notion of environment into our minds before inventing anything. Okay, then the first question, okay, about if I want to say that we don't, if regardless to your brother human beings, you need just to pay your attention about the other creatures that live in the world and the globe with you. Just think about the amount of animals we cause their extension, and also the water pollution that we made during these decades and centuries. For me, our duties toward the environment is to take care of your space. At first, your space. I mean, you don't need to see others what are they doing, and you say I need to just follow them. You need to be conscious. You need to be responsible of yourself and the environment you live in. Maybe at first they are going to laugh at you because you are different of them, but believe me, with the time they are going to follow you, and you are going to be a role model. And for the last question, I'm not professional at that, and professional, so I'm going to let the word for others. And also, maybe I don't know the technological techniques of saving environments and so on, but at least I know that I should protect my environment by just taking care of plantations, and also of and not throwing garbages, and yeah, so on. Yeah, so this is my word.
Thank you. Yeah, all actions count. All actions count, as you mentioned. I think that that's something that which we all agree. We have to, even as I forgot his name. Rasika, right? Rasika was mentioning. Um, we have to start with the localization. Yeah. So yeah, this is a very interesting topic, because many of the people don't. I don't know if they don't want to leave maybe the comfort zone, or it's because they don't really care. I hope that it's because they don't want to make the change, not because they don't care. But also, as you mentioned, if we start to set up the example for others, maybe in our closest family, they're gonna also start to adopt this ideology, and they're gonna be better citizens, towards the environment. Thank you.
Jerry?
Yes.
Yes, just regarding this point that you mentioned, that some people just don't want to leave their comfort zone, which is true actually, because this is my problem now actually, because I've told you that I'm just trying like to do my products myself, but so far the products I've been like making are like the for self-use. But in this lockdown, I try to do some new products, like the one for the cleaning, the one we use to clean the dishes and our hands. And it was really, and it is still difficult to convince my family to use these products, and they always say to me, no, why? I try to tell them that this is toxic, this is not good for our health, but it is really hard to convince them. All they say, okay, we've been using these products like from ages and nothing happened to us, so why now? You see, so I still cannot figure out how to convince them, but yeah, maybe it's because of the comfort zone. I don't know.
Yeah, it happens as well with me. Like I mentioned, many of my friends, uh, they have a different way of thinking. And I mean, for example, if we talk about mining, as some of you mentioned, Mining sometimes, well, affects the environment. But the question that I always ask them, okay, if you are not willing to stop mining because we need mining, let's be honest. But in which way are we gonna make it more sustainable for the environment? Or what are the things that we can do? Maybe by recycling, you know, like the 3 R's that we learned in elementary school. But it's gonna be only by the action of the citizens as well. The example that also was brought into the conversation with the bags, the plastic bags, that happened as well here in Mexico. And yes, it was crazy, super crazy, because the shops stopped giving bags. The government didn't provide at the right moment the ecological bags. So everyone was like, okay, what do I do now? uh, and it was just a tiny change, but with good actions, right? Because they try to protect the environment, but they didn't set up the right uh, adoption. Okay, I don't know. Mitch, would you like to respond to one of the questions?
Yeah, sure. Well, I won't give question by question, but I just have an overall opinion on this entire issue. Well, first and foremost, we have to accept the fact that we are here today and we're breathing the air we breathe and we are having the food that we have because the people before us, our ancestors, kept this environment very well. We look at the rivers we have, the trees which are there, and whatever we have today is there because someone before us kept us or kept it rather in a good condition. So speaking of which, everything like what we have today, sorry, my headsets are giving an echo. So basically everything that we have today is based on a food chain. We are existing today right now because there is another animal, we have the producer, the sun, and so on and so forth. So we accept that we're here today because something is pre-existing. So speaking of which, today, we keep on saying, in my own opinion, we keep on saying youth awakening, we keep on saying recycling, we keep on saying, what's this? We keep on talking about the environment, but this actually is a big war, especially if we bring it in the perspective of business. Many businesses are thriving today, big businesses. We can mention of these companies which are providing us with our everyday food, products, lotions or powders. All these things are coming from destroying the environment. And it is so hard to bring this to a stop because many people at the top are profiting for this. Or I shouldn't say many people, a few people at the top, let's say the hierarchy of the pyramid, are benefiting from all this. So if us as youth, let's say for example, we say, no, we want to recycle, we want to bring green energy, we want to protect our environment, there are people at the top who are profiting from all this and don't want it to stop. So this is a big war. You just can't wake up today and say, I want to use green energy, I want to protect the environment, stop using plastics. Hey, you just find out of nowhere an advocate, 3 days later you're dead. So this requires a collective coming together of youth. At least if you're speaking out as a group, it is not much easy to spot out who's doing what. So very less likely to get killed or something like that. But we have to realize that this is a big war we're fighting. We're fighting people at the height of the hierarchy, and you know, it requires the voices of many people and the awakening of many people. Like I think Omaima mentioned, using lesser products which are lesser harmful to ourselves, and you know, many people don't have this knowledge that the day-to-day products that we use are very harmful to us. As we consume them, we don't know where our cancer is coming from. We don't know that it is these little things like the packaging of the food that we have in the plastics, the packaging of the dishwashing and the shampoo which we consume every day. This is bringing these diseases to us. But let's say, for example, those in the business industry know that this is causing this, but they don't want to stop it because they are profiting from it. So I don't really know what I should say, but I can just say as an overall that many people, especially the youth and the children, have to wake up because this is the environment we are going to live in. Others keep on speaking about going to Mars and the riches, going to Mars and finding oxygen there, and they destroy the planet, make some profit, go to the planet moons and all these other planets and live there. They're making some banks and some homes over there while we have to remain suffering in this earth. We as the youth have to wake up because we are the ones who by the time we'll be reaching 50, 100 years old, this earth is gonna be damaged, it's gonna be in shambles, and only a few people will have the privilege to live in the moon because they had money which they made by living off the lives of people. So that's what I can say.
I like what you mentioned. We have to set up the food on our reality, because yes, when we talk about environment, sometimes we draw a utopical world, but it's important to see where are we and how is our context, because for some places, maybe like you mentioned, green energy might be something affordable, but in other places, they might not even have like the opportunity to think about the introduction of green energy. So it depends. So what I can take out of your participation is we must remain realistic, and from that point, then start to do something. Because if we start maybe to fantasize, it's gonna be just a beautiful story, but it's not gonna come into reality. Thank you so much. Well, I think that we are almost like out of time. I would like to conclude probably with some words that we are responsible for our environment, as you all mentioned. We are responsible, but we also have to take a real role in here. We are citizens. We live in our different countries with different societies, with different customs and traditions, but we can start to make different changes that, as Oma was mentioning, maybe they aren't going to be well adopted from everyone around us, because it's also a change of philosophy of thinking. But if we continue and carry on, we're going to set up the example for the rest, and hopefully they will start to taking care of the planet. Well, so I don't know if anyone else wants to say something.
A really big challenge for all the staff to move the store around several times over the last few weeks. But we're really proud.
Thank you. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Mehmet, did you want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, very nice. I am from Holland, but originally I am Turkish. My family is in Turkish, and I am 48 old year, and I speak very good Arabic, Turkish, Hollandish, a little bit Germany. This I am, and Where are you? Of where are you?
Okay, so we're actually on a conversation about to finish, by the way, about to finish. The topic was the environment, how to become a better citizen by taking care of the environment. But yeah, so far we have expressed different thoughts, ideas, and also actually before we finish, do you have any recommendations personally that we can adopt, like all of us, small examples that we can start to take action?
What do you mean,
Yes,
accommodation?
Yeah, for everyone. So the question was like, do you have any small advices that we can start to do,
I do. I do have one small thing, although I know I didn't join this conversation since the beginning. So probably I miss several points that you say, Jerry. But the simple things is I think it starts from ourselves if we wanna care about the environment. So I think right now the biggest things, the big problem about the environment, beside the deforestations, I guess it's about like plastic garbage, because plastic is it takes thousands of time to be it's not a biodegradate, is not friendly, it's unfriendly to the environment. So it start from us. So we have our awareness. For example, if we know something that we can do recycle, we can recycle the garbage or the trash. But if it's like plastic, we try to reduce. For example, when we go to supermarket, we provide our own bag, or something that at least, yeah, something that make you use less plastic, because usually, for example, in the supermarket they will give you a plastic bag or something if you buy a lot of things in the supermarket. Yeah, that's the start from small things that I think would be change everybody's here. That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you,
Yeah.
Aris. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
You're
uh,
welcome.
Jerry,
Sorry.
it. Yes, Umayma?
Okay.
yes, what about creating a WhatsApp group or Facebook? I don't know, like just to create a community for people who are interested about doing the ecological products by themselves. I don't know, just to space to share ideas, tips, advices, small actions that we do in our day-to-day life. I don't know, just I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah. It would be lovely. Yeah. I think that we could do something like that because there is a lot of people around that is very interested on taking care of the environment. Yeah. So for sure, yeah, I like it. Pat?
Yes. Hello, I'm Pat from Thailand. Actually, after this, the new member who just joined the meeting for the first time, you can contact the admin of WhatsApp group, and then he will add you to the VIP group. And then you can inform him your ID as well. So after you join the VIP CTI group, then you can share this idea in the group. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Pat. Yeah.
Hello, guys.
We can
And
send it.
what is the purpose of this group? Is it the environment? I mean, like the topic of the today?
No, actually, it's for the member who join our meeting once, at least once. Then after that, you can share your idea in the VIP WhatsApp group about your environmental idea. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
It's really nice to learn.
Contact the admin, please.
Yeah, thank you, Pat. Thank you.
Or you can just click on the link. Hisham just put the link in the chat room, in this Zoom chat room. If you are not in the VIP group yet, you can click the link and then you can join our group. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, guys.
But do you think that do we still have time for more participation?
Maybe for the last person who want to share. Okay.
Teresa, are you still there?
Hello. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the chance. Like previous brother and sister said, if we talk about environment, component of the environment, there are abiotic like air, sand, or it is an biotic component like animal, human, and plant. And their interaction between biotic and abiotic is like reciprocal interaction, or they will give influence each other. But here I wanna talk about the keeping balance of the nature by example about food chains. Like we learned before, example plant or rice as a production, and then eat by mouse for the example, and mouse will be eat by eagle, and eagle will die and decay by microorganism. But what happen if we as human make pollution or this make imbalance in our environment? It will influence another creatures, like animal will die because of our pollution that human made, and it will destroy the balance of food chains in. And then moreover, in the wider impact is a web food chains. And if this happens, the imbalance of our nature, it will make a big impact. Like example, if my organism in the land reduce, so there is no microorganism that will decay. And like if eagle didn't exist again, or and it will influence the food chains, like the population of snakes will be increased, and then yeah, for some animal will lack of food. I think that's all. I just wanna chat about like the balance of our nature is like reciprocal or influence each other, especially in food chains. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's true. Like we mentioned before as well, our actions are going to have repercussions. In this case, sometimes they might affect or they will affect the animal food chain. So it's true. By taking one of the predators, it's going to affect the rest of the environment, the rest of the other animals, as well as the plants. And yes, it's a collateral effect. Okay, so I think that we are going to finish the meeting right now. So I'm going to pass actually the word to Pat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. And thank you everyone for joining our meeting. And please don't forget to type your Instagram in the chat room, and then the admin will add you to our WhatsApp group. And if you didn't click the link in our WhatsApp group yet, please contact the admin of the group. So we will have the meeting every Sunday, the same time. So you are all welcome to join. So see you next Sunday. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Jerry, as well. Okay. See you.
Bye, Pat. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you very much.